Hey guys, it's Jason28W making you guys an update video. I don't know what's going on with my camcorder here. I was just making you guys a video and I got the 6 minutes and it froze on me. So, that's why I haven't, it did this to me a few days ago when I was making you guys a video. That's why I haven't had a video up yet. But anyways, I'm gonna have to start everything over here again now. Anyways, as you can see, I got the Revo or the e-maxx in front of me here, and I had when I made that video, I had said that I would make a video showing how I had this truck set up, and I'm gonna let you guys know this right now, that if you want to do this setup, it's gonna have to be done right. You can't just throw it in there and call it good. Now, like I was just explaining, certain precautions or whatever have to be taken in order for this to be a reliable setup. Now, this speed control in the specs, it says that the motor, it does not have a motor limit for brushed and brushless motors 540 size, okay? Now, you can run 550 motors on the speed control, but it's limited, okay? Now, how I have this set up is I wanted to run, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The speed control that I had before was the HV Pro 5.5 brushless speed control. And that was a dual batteried speed control. I was running 16.8 volts on that. You can look back in my videos and you'll see my truck with that setup in it. In my old e-maxx, my Revo, and the new e-maxx. Okay, now, see. Okay, where to start here? Alright, if you want to run this truck, or if you want to run this setup the way that I have it done, this is exactly what you do, okay? Now, obviously this is the Mamba, the Mamba Max Pro speed control with the Smart Sense. It's got the sensor plug right there, and then the fan plug. Okay, now, like I was explaining before, this speed control will run this motor, but you have to do things right. Now, I have the motor geared, I have the whole truck geared, stock spur, and a 13-tooth pinion. Okay, that's what the specs say that this e-maxx requires. That's the 3903 e-maxx. That's what is required for this motor. Okay. Now, the motor doesn't get hot enough really to need a fan or a heat sink, but I put it on there just in case. I went out and ran it yesterday and I only got it up to 120, and I think it's like 170 or 180 or something like that. You can, 100. If you see 150, then you should start being worried about it pretty much. So that's the reason why I have the heat sink and the fan on there. And then of course the fan is just powered by the receiver. Okay, now, to run this motor on this speed control, what you have to do, on the specs on this speed control, it says that you can run 6 to 12 cells NiCad or nickel metal hydride, or 6S LiPo. Now, obviously, a person's going to think that, well, if it can run 6-cell LiPo, then I should be able to run more nickel metal hydride cells on it, or NiCad. Yes, okay, but this is what you have to do. You have to use your CastleLink and you have to download the latest software for this speed control, which is, I have it written down here. let's see here. Alright. It says, let's see. I wrote it down like this. Can run 550 brushless motors. And then it says that speed control is capable of running more than 12 cells NiCad or nickel metal hydride with the latest software installed. Okay. Now the software that you need to install is right there, 1.33 beta. And like if you want to run it the way that I have mine set up, then you have to update the software, and then you also have to solder on a series connector, which is right here. As you can see, I did the series connector, Corstein's plugs. And what I did is that is on the speed control, it's showing 13 gauge wire. I asked Mamba or Castle, whatever, if I could use a piece of 12 gauge wire, and they said that yes, it's better to use thicker wire than it would be to use, you know, thinner. So obviously, so I put a piece of 12 gauge on there. So to recap everything here, if you want to run 16.8 volts like I am, you need to upgrade. You need to update the ESC software, do a series connector, put a 13 tooth pinion on the stock spur, and then put a heat sink with the fan on there, and then the speed control obviously has its own built-in fan. Now, the fan doesn't kick on until your internal temperature in the speed control reaches 150 degrees. Well, now, I don't think that it's really that accurate, because this fan will kick on when the speed control is barely at 100 degrees. Which is okay. That means that it's more sensitive than it needs to be. Okay, because Castle was telling me that if the outside of the speed control is not reading past 150 degrees, there's nothing to worry about regardless if the fan turns on or not. So, the hottest that I've been able to get this speed control is 102. And I'm beating the hell out of it. So, Castle was kind of hesitant on, you know, me running this speed control in this truck, but I talked to three different guys about that same speed control, and the first guy was hesitant about me doing it. The second guy told me that it can be done, you just have to do it a certain way. And the third guy told me that, of course this was in different days, and the third guy told me that the speed control is underrated, so it wouldn't surprise him if it ran fine. And they actually asked me to report to them, you know, if it works good. And what the last guy told me is that this setup, or this speed control, works great up to a 9-pound vehicle. And with my truck, the way it is, with the batteries that I'm running, it's pretty damn close to that. It's like 8 something. And, you know, I made you guys that little bashing video, and you guys could see how, you know, insane this thing was going. And I was hardly on the trigger. I'll grab the controller and I'll show you guys. I'm not joking you either. I wasn't even doing half throttle. Okay, here's the e-maxx controller, alright? There you go. Now, when you guys saw me running that on that dirt hill, this is all I was doing. You know, and obviously it'll go this far. You know, I was doing that. That's it. maybe a tenth more, but that's it. And you guys saw how nuts it was. So, no. Getting on the price. Yeah, I know that I'm rambling on and blah, 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 blah. But I'm making this nice long video for you guys because I searched and searched and searched for, you know, if I could do this setup. And this is not on YouTube. How I just did all this is not on YouTube. I can guarantee you that I will be the only video on YouTube that has done this. And this is exactly the reason why I'm doing this. You know, so, I forgot what I was just going to say, but anyway, screw it, moving on. And this is what I'm running. The cheapbatterpacks.com, you know, side-by-side packs, beefed up on 12-gauge wire, you know, excuse me. And I also bought some expensive-ass max amps batteries, you know, and I gotta say that I'm not gonna lie that max amps, they can make a hell of a battery, I tell you, and I sure as hell hope so for the cost, because these costed more than these, you know. So, but anyways, I hope that this video helps you guys. You know, it's a nice little how-to video. Or, you know, or what would work, or however you want to put it. And I know that a lot of, see, the problem is that there's few setups out there that are designed or that will work on a monster truck, or people just don't know if it's going to work or not. And I mean, I took a stab in the dark, yes, you know. And I had to spend some money to try this, but boy, am I glad that I did. Now, oh, that's what I was going to say. On to the price. Okay, now, a lot of people out there may not think that it's worth it, but I think it's worth every dime, because I know how the truck performs and the runtime I'm getting. I've already been told by 4 different manufacturers that my runtime is almost unheard of. So, it's obviously a pretty efficient setup. But the motor was $130. The speed control was $127.98. Okay? So now do the math. That'll tell you how much that's going to cost you. I mean, this stuff here, you know, the heat sink and the fan, I mean, you know, you can get that stuff cheap. I mean, you can get that anywhere, but I think it was like $15 for this little doohickey setup here, you know. And then, you know, you got your Dean's connectors, you know, they're like $3 something for a piece or something or whatever. And then the wire I had already had, you know, up on my parts wall. Oh, I suppose I could update you guys on my parts wall. It's growing a little bit. You think? You think it's growing a little bit? Yes, I am deep into the hobby. But anyway, this video is getting kind of long, but I just wanted to explain to you guys what you guys can do for a cheaper, reliable, highly powerful setup. And that's really all I have for you guys right now. I haven't really changed anything on the Revo. I added some stickers on it, but I'm sure you guys don't want to see that shit, you know. The e-maxx, the old e-maxx, I put a, well, I could show you guys that, I guess. I put an RPM front bumper on it, and a rear bumper, you know, and that's really it. Nothing's changed on the Stampede over there, or the Evader, or the Blackfoot. The Blackfoot doesn't have a motor right now, so we're not running that. But the Evader, everything's fine. Well, I broke an antenna tube on it, you know, whoop-de-doo. But the Stampede, haven't had a problem with it. It's a good old reliable truck. Anyways, I've taken up enough of your guys' time. If I have anything else, I will update you guys. I got some stuff coming up here, so there might not be a video for a while. But you never know. Trying to think if there's anything else that I want to update you guys on, just in case you're first. No, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions about this setup here, feel free to ask. I can give you all the resources on where to get the stuff and wherever, you know, or whatever. And, but I should add that quick. This setup is not recommended for the Revo, or anything that is heavier than 9 pounds. The lighter, the better. So, just to clarify that. Anyways, please rate, subscribe, and comment, or however the hell we're doing that nowadays. And, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.